How's it going, YouTube? It's BraxtonComix here, and today I'll be bringing you guys my deck profile for PePe. Now, obviously, I have, of course, seen the changes that Konami brought out the other day, pretty much destroying PePe. But I feel that even with these changes, the deck is gonna survive somehow. This deck I will be actually playing this weekend. This is literally going to be the only time I play it at full power. But I've got friends that I met at YCS who are testing the deck, and I'm going to see it with them, see how the deck can work with the loss of Damage Juggler and things like that. But for now, this is going to be for, I guess, the January 2016 format. And of course, the changes go in effect next week, after this weekend. So, for those going to Atlanta, this ban list change won't affect you. So, lucky you guys, I guess. I'm pretty mad about that, but it's okay. But for now, I will be bringing you guys full power PePe in my build. This is one I was actually going to play at ARG Fort Worth at the end of the month, but then Konami gave us this bombshell. So, yeah. Without further ado, guys, let's get into this deck profile. Alright, you guys, here's the deck. Bear in mind, though, there are a few proxies in the main and side deck. I'm actually still waiting on a couple of cards to come in. And I actually bought them way before the changes were even brought out, so yeah, I'm not even going to get into that. So, without further ado, let's get into this. So we're going to start off with double copies of Vector Pendulum, the Drake Overlord, and 3 copies of Luster Pendulum. Obviously, first proxy. These guys make up, or I guess now previously made up, one big consistency scenario in the entire deck. Draco Face-Off, and these guys really were OP. Luster Pendulum is extremely degenerate. I see why they limited it, but whatever. I'm not gonna keep on commenting on them. These guys are probably the best numbers at 2 and 3, and I can't say it any other way. I'm not too sure how Master Pendulum is going to come into the mix of PePe, or Clown Mage, that's how I call it sometimes, after the changes come in, so we'll find out. Next up is 3 copies of Skull Crobat Joker, Searcher for every Perform Pal, standard. 2 copies of Pendulum Sorcerer. I only ever need 2, and I've found in testing that it's really consistent at 2. You really only ever need the 2, and it's really okay to play at 2. And I didn't want to have to go through the pain of having to buy a 3rd copy, so 3 Monkey Board. It's literally the Clifford Scout for the entire deck without the 800 cost. I miss that dank meme. 2 Lizard Draw and 1 Geturtle. These guys, I didn't even realize how good they'd be together if you set them both in the scale. Lizard Draw and then, well, Geturtle, then Lizard Draw. 2 draws for nothing, which is ridiculous. Next up in the Perform Pals, I play a tech in 1 copy of Perform Pal, Help Princess. This essentially, whenever you are to normal or special summon a Perform Pal, you can special summon this card from your hand. It's essentially a Kage to Kage, which is really nice. The only thing I really am confused about Help Princess is that she's a warrior, not a spellcaster. I mean, she practically looks like a spellcaster, am I right? But she's a warrior for whatever reason. That's weird. So that's all the Lusters, the Dracos, and the Perform Pals. Next up are the Mages, 3 copies of Plush Fire. So degenerate. The 1 Mirror Conductor, 3 copies of Damage Juggler, Karibo for the deck, and a search for every Perform Mage there is, Trick Clown and Hat Tricker, 1 of each of those. 1 Xaber Polymero as the tech for Nachiria Beast, and Gigabyte as well for another King of the Feral Imp search. I'm gonna miss all this degeneracy. I hope that's a word. For the spells, 1 copy of Magical Spring and 1 copy of Twin Twisters. I was originally playing 2 Magical Spring, but now that Monarchs had become the best thing ever, more or less, Twin Twisters had to be forced into the deck simply because it stops the domain of the True Monarch from really doing its shenanigans. Magical Spring, I've not always been the biggest fan of, but it really does come in handy in certain situations when you're mostly going up in the mirror match. Next up is 3 copies of the Draco Face-Off and 3 copies of Wavering Eyes. These are all the spells in the deck. Wavering Eyes is too good. I'm surprised they didn't hit this on the list either. That's really hilarious. I really would have thought that Pendulum Storm would have become a thing if this got limited or banned. Draco Face-Off, I'm not entirely on point about this being an unfair card. Yeah, it sets off half your scale, but it's at random, and you never know what your hand is going to be at the time when you play this. So I don't consider Draco Face-Off the most unfair card. It is definitely a consistently strong card. And finally, there's only 4 traps in the entire deck. Bottomless, Time Space, Solemn Warning, and Strike. Said those in the wrong order, but who cares? As long as you have pretty much everything else in the deck, you really hardly need to worry about back row, and that's really, really nice. So these are the only 4 you need. Both of these, obviously, for actually Rafflesia, Time Space to stop Cosmos because it's on target, and these 2 because they're some of the best counter traps we have in the game. Alright, so next up we have the extra deck. I actually am missing Rafflesia. I actually pulled one from my box if you haven't seen by now. But I traded that off, I sold that, so whatever. It's a cheap secret rare, it's pretty easy to get. I'll definitely get it again in the near future. So, for the extra deck, 1 copy of Dynastor Powerful, the Mighty Draco Slayer. Just sitting on this as a 2950 defense is super good. Protects all Pendulum cards on your field, spell or monster, from being destroyed. And you get to special summon a free Draco Slayer monster from your graveyard. The only cost is it can't be used as a fusion material. That's okay, though. I really do like this card. 2950 wall, super cool. Naturia Beast for the lock. Spells are too good. 2 Ignister Prominence, the Blasting Draco Slayer. I really wish Konami didn't hit Luster. This was one of the few monster outs that we have to a Dark Destroyer. Ugh, can't talk. But now that Luster Pendulum is essentially gone, I don't know how much more Ignister can do. I really wish he could do more. And I wish we had another tuner that was as degenerate as Luster Pendulum. For the Exesis, King of the Feral Imps to get out those Reptile Searches, Trapeze Magician to get 2 attacks in one go, Castell to return stuff, Cowboy to burn for game, Dweller, because Dweller's always good, Majester Paladin to get that search during the end phase, 101, and of course the Ptolemaeus engine, which we're all going to miss entirely. Honestly, I saw the Ptolemaeus getting hit. I think everybody in the meta saw it happening. Cyber Dragon Infinity, the plays were fun, man, but it had to happen. So that's it for the main and that's it for the main and extra deck. What the hell? I may as well go ahead and show you guys the side deck. So, starting off, hand traps, double Veiler, double Maxi. I think these are some of the most obvious choices, honestly. And then 2 Lava Golem. A lot of you guys might be confused over this. This was honestly a tech choice of mine, recommended to me from my friend YCS. Thank you, Sean. Because in between games, now if your opponent obviously realizes that you're going with PePe, and you play this on your I guess turn 2, you're able to tribute 2 of their guys, because if they can get the Naturia Lock and Cyber Dragon Infinity in the same turn, you tribute those guys off for this, and essentially go for it with your own Infinity. That's another Exceeds material for practically nothing. You get your own monster back. That's hilarious. Next up is the 1 Magical Spring, another copy, not that bad. 3 Mask of Restrict, literally the only out that we have to Monarchs, even if this deck gets power creeped out of existence, and Monarchs remain the top tier for the next couple of months. This is the best shot we have against them. I mean, Fog King, okay, but who has time to tribute summon, right? Monarchs sure do. Double Mind Crush to get those hands out of the way. Double Imperial Iron Wall to stop Cosmos from getting their shit off. And then Vanity's Emptiness to stop all special summonings, no matter what. And with that, YouTube, that concludes my deck profile for PePe. I have, of course, pretty much stated everything that I'm going to miss about this deck. There's not really much else I can say about it. I'm going to miss the hell out of it. And yeah, there's just not much I can say or do, so oh man, I'm gonna miss PePe so much. But I do plan on getting some duel videos in here pretty soon, guys. I'll be going to locals this weekend, as I said at the beginning of the video, and I'll get some duel videos uploaded within the next week, so I hope you guys look forward to that. So if you guys enjoyed this deck profile, please leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and leave your comments down below on your thoughts for this, I guess, out-of-date PePe deck profile now. If you guys haven't noticed, I am only 10 subscribers away from 500, so if we can get that number up to 500 within the next week, I would be so satisfied with everybody who continues to support me for whatever reason necessary. So that is it, YouTube. Thank you all again so much for watching. I'm BraxtonComix, signing out.